Good morning. So today is April 20th. This is daily attendance. I'm done finally with all your all's essays for midterms. Okay, so I thought they were just lovely. I will probably do tomorrow a little explanation. But I really enjoyed all your essays. They were all very, very different, which I really, really enjoyed. And even though it was the same topic, it was a different perspective, and everybody has been moved and impacted in different ways. And I have a lot of my students that are pregnant, so make sure that you stay safe. I also have a lot of students whose parents are ill, or or whose parent-in-laws, father-in-laws or mothers-in-laws are ill. So going through lots of things. This is a really good time of centering and being patient, having faith and prayer. If you don't believe that, definitely meditation. And so it was a really different perspective. The other thing is that I had some students that were really, really funny about conspiracy theories and all that. So it was a nice break from the heaviness of what we're going through to really experience much laughter in those essays. So I really, really enjoyed it. I started getting a little impatient because I did, it's close to, I don't know, I think like 200 or maybe 150 essays and students that I have. So I started getting really impatient, and I started getting a lot of anxiety, which is what you all are saying that you are having. So I just had to make sure that I, made specific, took specific steps to reduce the anxiety. And so with that is that I took breaks. I also walked around. I talked to my children on several occasions, and then I would put myself and set time frames and timelines to be able to finish a certain amount of essays by a certain amount of time. So last night I finished mostly all the essays except for one class that's 145 and about half of the other. So I was basically halfway done, but it still took me basically 2 full days. So so that was very, very interesting in terms of the essays, and we'll discuss, everything and all that came out in the essay. It was very insightful and it was very meaningful, and for the most part, most of my students really put a legitimate effort into their essays. There were some essays that were beautifully written, both written beautifully in terms of content, and then beautifully written, that it would just really flowed, and they really put an effort. So everybody overall put an effort, so I want to thank you for that. It just shows the respect that you have for me, and then of course I would never not read them, so it's the respect that I would have for you as my students, and we're in it together. So lots of struggles and lots of things that we're all going through, right? There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of weight gain. I've also gained a lot of weight, so there's a lot of discussion on that. A lot of fear-based, especially for those of you who are pregnant or are scared to bring in contamination to your household. It was very interesting because everybody has like a decontamination like little area, and so you basically come in through the garage and then strip down and then put your clothes in the washer, and then really do anti-contamination and Clorox, and make sure that you wipe everything down. So it was very interesting to see that, and it's very interesting how much you all know because you're in the medical field, I think, and a lot of you are keeping up with everything that's going on. That also is sometimes hindering when we see a lot of and view a lot of news and social media. So make sure that when your anxiety is going up, that you reduce that so you won't create so much anxiety. Meditation will help tremendously. There's all sorts of videos on meditation. If you would have been in my class, we would have meditated already. I thought about meditating it, but I figured you guys would think I was crazy and I would be the only one that was meditating during our video chat and all that. But meditation is very interesting when we do it in class. There's been a lot of students that have foreseen things. There's also students that have seen themselves, so like their soul is present and they're ready to go to a higher level. I've also had other students. I had one student in particular that said, "Hey miss, when is true love coming," or whatever. So she saw her future boyfriend in the meditation based on my interpretation of it, and things didn't work out, but nonetheless the gentleman came into her life within a 2-week period. There was also another one of my students who meditated, and while we did the meditation in class, she saw the reproductive system. So she told me, "Hey miss, do you think that I'm pregnant?" I said, "I don't think so." So the more I thought about it, and the more I talked to her, because part of the reason and part of the way that I do my interpretations and my symbolism, because English and words and vocabulary and language and writing and visuals, right, have everything to do with symbolism. And so it is in of itself a whole different language and a whole way of communicating. So so she told me this, and so then later I said, I don't think you're pregnant, I think you need to go get checked. So long story short, you know, the gynecologists take forever to, you know, give you an appointment. So I was really adamant every day. I tell her, you need to go check, you need to go get checked, you need to go get checked. So she finally went to the Similares in Juarez, which are great because they're like, they have specific specialty doctors there, and they also have they have a pharmacist there. So she went and she got in, and she had tremendous amount of fibroids, and she was there just in time is what the doctor told her. So when she came later, she's like, Miss, I don't want to meditate, but it really sort of did save her life. So meditation gives you, in the essence of the meditation and during the practice of the meditation, it just takes practice. You know, and sometimes you want to go to sleep and you sleep, and that's fine, but sometimes you have visuals, and it is in the silence of the meditation, and it is about being, you know, with self, that you can figure out all sorts of things, and that you get answers for all sorts of things and guidance that you need. So I highly recommend the meditation. Most of my students really enjoy the meditation. And one day I was going to Starbucks down the street out of SU, and I was walking back because I've been in Spain, so I walk everywhere. Right now I used to walk 12 miles a day, so, you know, going a block or two isn't a big deal anymore for me. So I saw one of my students, and she was from Vista College, and she's like, Miss, I went to Vista College. And I said, you a traitor. And then so we started laughing. She's like, I really miss you, miss, or whatever. And then as I was walking back, she yelled at me. She said, Miss, I still meditate. So if you had me for class, we would probably do meditation. So I highly encourage you to meditate. That creates and that reduces the anxiety. That also helps you set the tone for whenever it is that you take a test. It helps you set the pace for that test, and it helps with the anxiety. Okay, and it's also about controlling yourself, coming into alignment, controlling your emotions and your feelings, which are very important. When you don't have control of that, you give your power up, and you don't, and then you don't react the way that is best for you to react. So everything in loving kindness, make sure that you are aware of that and mindful of that. But the essays were extraordinary. The funny ones were a really nice break, and the very heartfelt, and all of them were very heartfelt, were very inspiring. So I'm glad we did this topic, and I so much thank you for putting the effort genuinely and producing something really beautiful and legitly, and not something that just whatever to produce. So I appreciate that. That just shows the level of respect you have for me, and I hope that through my teachings, even though they're online and it's difficult for everybody, and a lot of people mentioned how difficult it is, but in the end, that everybody's sort of adjusting, and it gets better and better, and that's how life is, right? And we do as we can. So make sure that you understand that we're here to help, and even though, you know, it's through these YouTube, and we're not physically there, and even though I really miss the classroom and the interaction, know that I'm here, and know that you can reach out. I've had some students reaching out. I'm sort of like a life coach, so they've had questions or things that they have wanted me to review, and suggestions that possibly they were seeking. So they have reached out, whether they're my students in my class or not, but a lot of students have reached out. So know that I am here available. I'm also, a dream interpreter, for those of you who believe it or not. So if you have dreams that are conflicting, and it's very interesting because in this time of the pandemic, the dreams and nightmares, as I have mentioned in my other video, have really gone up. And so that's going to be very difficult, and that's something that has to be dealt with. And as I mentioned, that's part of the psyche that will be affected, and those are the things that we will have effect on in terms of these constraints. And you all had beautiful quotes, and I put some there. I will write them down you know, to be able to reference. And one of them right off the top is like, instead of saying, you know, that I am locked up, or that that I'm locked up in my home, it's about, you know, my house being safe. So something like that. So that was a beautiful quote. So I just really want to thank you. It was lovely, and I very much so much enjoyed our essay. So thank you so much. So this is SU daily attendance, April 20th. The link will be up there, and then I will have videos for English 145 and English 133, so that way you have this week's assignment. I will try to get your assignments in as quickly as you can, because I do have to turn in grades. And so when those are assignments and those links are up, if they are not filled and I don't grade them yet, it will sort of unadjust your grade, and it will, you know, sort of not give it an accurate grade. That's why I don't put up the links until we are ready to upload, because if the link is there, it sort of unbalances the grade. I don't know. So it's things I notice because I'm a principal, right? So I don't want that to happen. If I've asked you to upload some stuff, make sure you upload it. Thank you so much for those of you who have advocated for yourselves, and anything that you mention that you have had issues with, you know, you've been really good about reaching out to me. So I hope that my turnaround is quite quickly. I try to, as best as I do, try to answer as much as I can. So that'll be great. We will be having a meeting, a Teams meeting this Wednesday. So make sure that you're on the list. And if you're not on the list still, make sure that you reach out again and tell me to get you on. If you are unable to attend, make sure that you send me an email. It will be at 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock for my evening class. So 2 o'clock for my 145s, and then 3 o'clock for my English 133s, which nobody showed up. So you need to make sure that you guys showed up. And then my afternoon class, 145. I will be doing it out of my desktop. I hope I can see you all. I do have a monitor that's bigger, as I mentioned, but you know, the camera isn't on the monitor, so we'll see if I don't look kind of weird and I'm looking the other way. But everything's a process, right? And it is through, you know, trying to diligently get through the process and adjusting to do better. So you need to really make sure that you look into it. I think everybody's already looked into it and already has the Teams downloaded. There was something else really important that I was going to mention, but I am forgetting right now. Probably remember next video. So make sure that that's the case. I will explain in English 145 what we're to do, because I finally figured it out, and some of the grades have transferred and some of them have not. So we'll see that. Okay, so I'll see you in your next video for your specific class, so I can tell you what this week's graded homework is, and any type of specific housekeeping for your class, I will mention in that. So thank you everybody that that was timely in their midterm. There's other people that have not uploaded. Make sure you upload. If you got a 0, that is to tell you that I did not have an upload. There's other students that uploaded, but I was not able to open. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. But you need to send me your essay, okay, and make sure that it's there. Make sure that it's there. Okay, so so I think that's it. If you have any questions, if you you know, have any concerns, make sure that you feel that you reach out, and that, you know, I'm able to answer them. The other thing is that through, you know, you guys see me, right? But I sure don't see you. So through the essays, I got to know you much better. So that gave me a lot of peace, and that gave me a lot of connectedness with you and with my students, which is very crucial for me in my regular classes to do. I feel that we're very connected. And as I have mentioned before, if you got me, it's because you're ready for the message. And the message is about being the best that you can be, really working on yourself and really working on your spirituality, whether you believe in Allah, Buddha, Christ, Jesus, you have a religion or not, because believing is about believing about yourself and doing and being the best that you can be in order to get through this journey and this path, right, that we call life, as best as we can, so we will not repeat it again. And really, in the end, you know, at the end of life, we say, what a hell of a ride I did, and it was an exceptional life, and I wouldn't give anything back. So that is the whole deal. And so if you're here, you're ready for the message. I was very pleased to find out that there's a lot of spiritual students students, in my class, and there's a lot of holistic things that you all are doing, a lot of prayer and a lot of spirituality and a lot of balancing, and a variety of beliefs. And so what a great way to have my class, because that's what I thrive on with. So I thank you very much, and I thank you for being so open and genuinely allowing me to peek into your life with whatever it is that you wrote and the essay that it is that you wrote, because you honored me by opening your life just a tad or quite a bit, and allowing me insight to see what you were going through. And there is no better way to show respect and love with that, with that, what is it called? Risk-free environment in which you felt you felt safe enough to be able to open. So it is an honor to have read what it is that you wrote, and believe me, I read every single one of them and truly enjoyed it. Many blessings, love and light. See you tomorrow. Daily attendance today, April 20th. Screenshot upload. Ciao.